Y'all, look, I sat up here and tried to make this video because I messed around and watched Real Housewives of Atlanta while I was finishing some work, and I haven't gotten out of my workout clothes, so forgive me. Because I actually thought it was good. I'm actually surprised. And I felt a way about Atlanta falling off and letting so many people who were not from Atlanta, or just that hadn't lived there long enough and just coming for the show, it annoyed me. Stuff like that. And honestly, it kind of began maybe with Kenya, because she had gotten on the internet back when she was on saying she would never be on a show like that, and then anyway. But I watched this first episode of season 16, and I have to say, I am surprised. It was good. It was entertaining. So let's begin. All right, so I can't promise that, I'll stay engaged. You know how people like to play with you when it's a good show. Now, I only knew about Shamia. Of course I heard in the blogs and stuff like that. But Shamia seemed to be the center of this episode. She's been a friend of the show for a minute. But really as Portia's friend. So that's how she was introduced to us. So she lets us know about her life. She has a Kenyan man who makes his money doing manufacturing HVACs and stuff like that for, the airport, so on and so forth. Let me tell you what I love to hear about different ways that people have jobs, make money. Because, we teach, children about jobs we know about, doctors, lawyers, stuff like that. But this kind of work, sometimes you don't know unless you just hear somebody talking about it. Like when Mel was doing rehabbing properties and making money and, stuff like that. I think it's good for people to know. All right. So Shamia is basically calling herself a quadruple threat. She can sing and act and two other things that I don't remember. She has 2 kids, 2 beautiful little girls. Great. She meets her husband at some party. She tells a long story. Bravo played you with that playback, but okay. Anyway, but yeah, girl, you have a very big house. Very nice. It does not look lived in at all. Which to me makes it less of a home, but this is your life, not mine. Okay, so the whole episode is building up to Shamia's birthday party. Shamia, for all that money, all that house and home you have, that dress, I just don't understand why you wore it. It just seemed like it should have been something. I'm sure it was probably expensive, or maybe not. I don't know whose clearance rack that after everybody done picked over a dress after prom season you decided to wear, but it was not the move. Nevertheless, Shamia, I think you came on here and you did not come on annoyingly strong. You were still interesting, which was okay, which was good, because the whole episode was anchored in you and it was not annoying. Thank you. Okay. So she is, sitting down with a couple of the other girls that we don't know. Now, this is the shakeup, honestly, I had been looking up for years. You just have to shake up the whole cast. You do. You have to get rid of some people, even the people you love, just because it just lags on. So I think it was Brittany and Kelly she invited out or whatever, and they're talking or chilling, and somebody brings up how public Portia's divorce is because Shamia and her are friends. Kelly, who is at this chicken and waffles place that apparently is very popular, and I'm going to tell you right now, Kelly, you are one messy chick. But honestly, this episode would not have been interesting had you not been annoying. So you know what? I'm going to let it slide this time. Okay? Not really, but kind of. And Kelly, you the kind of messy that can make or break your restaurant. You might have good waffles and everything else. I'm just telling you, reality TV can just have the opposite effect. Just letting you know. And is it me? Or is it when people join reality shows, that's actually when they're actually going broke? Just saying. Just saying. Who's going to be the next to fall? I don't know. But it seems to be inevitable on these shows where people show off their wealth. All right. So she starts talking about Portia's divorce, saying it was karma for her stealing that woman's husband, so on and so forth. And they show the footage, which I think is why Portia got away from the show in the first place, because she didn't want to come on and explain that. I never thought that marriage was going to last. I didn't understand why that marriage was happening. I didn't expect it to go past an engagement. No, and I don't feel sorry for Portia the way I did the first time when she got divorced from Cordell, because I could tell she was really hurt. I think this time, yeah, Portia, knew to do a prenup, knew to do these things, but I don't feel like Portia was in love with him. I don't think Portia, so it doesn't it didn't hurt me the same way to watch her be in so much pain. Also, it just never seemed real to me. Okay. And it didn't look good then, and Portia admitted that. It doesn't look good now. But my thing is, Kelly, we don't know you. And you don't know Portia. And then you're talking about her best friend that they have pictures of together from way, way back. Like in their bathing suits, like before they even developed. Like, why would you even like bring that up around her? And give your opinion about somebody you don't know. Why? To make a check. Okay? Apparently them waffles ain't pulling in that much money because you was working hard on this episode. Anyway, so Shamia says, well, look, this is, it went down this way. No, they were divorced. Da, 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 da. Shamia did what a friend is supposed to do. And that is to have your back when you're not around and you hear somebody else talking about your friend. Like, this is where it stops. This is what I know. You should probably leave it there. I know it's public, but whatever. She did what a friend is supposed to do and still took up for Portia. All right, without causing a whole lot of dissension, which I respect and appreciate. Okay, so Portia, as we see, comes, to Shamia's birthday party late at the end of the episode, tries to get off in the car when her husband gives her a Rolls Royce. I think that's a very generous gift. I honestly don't understand why people like Rolls Royces. I think they are very busy. They're very expensive and they look like hearses. But to each his own. Girl, you love it. If you like it, I love it. Okay? All right. So Portia gets there late. It was giving mass production. Okay? It was giving production told her to show up late. Okay? And no, I don't think Portia's a mean person. Yes, I've been hearing stuff on blogs and yeah, Portia's just mean and she does things to her friends and her sisters. First of all, over the years, and you can kind of tell even when you watch these reality shows, somebody who's like really kind of cruel and mean, like Kenya hasn't changed. She's very gorgeous. She's very pretty. And the minute she got a chance to comment on somebody's ring and whether it's an engagement ring or wedding ring or from her first or second marriage, that kind of stuff, that's who she is as a person. She's a messed up person. Portia, I think, is a sweet person who has a good heart. And just because she had some blips, that's why people could forgive her for the fight with Kenya. Not simply because Kenya deserves to get her ass whooped, but also because it was so counter to who she was. And even when she got in those other issues, like with Cynthia, it was very out of character for her. And we at the end of the day, even with all the stuff on this reality show, we're only getting a glimpse of her life. So her arguing with her sister over business and her sister being upset, sisters have those kind of fights. And yes, it will be unfair in family. And I'm sure her and Shamia have felt that kind of fight. But we're also seeing one side of what's produced for TV. No, I don't think Portia is mean and a bully and all this other stuff. Like, miss me with the bull. Portia showed up late. Production told her to show up late. And Portia, you know how she can be clueless. Anyway, while they're at the party, Kelly, who Shamia asked to come over early, Shamia sat down with her like a woman in her home, welcomed her, did not make her uncomfortable, said to her, you know you're my friend, and you know Portia's my friend. When you spoke about her at the dinner table and in front of somebody else, it made me uncomfortable because it put her in a situation. She was like, I would never want you to feel uncomfortable. And then proceeds to tell multiple people at the party, Shamia pulled me to the side trying to check me to send it. And you presented it in a way that, one, it did not have to become an issue. Shamia told you that, yes, she told her because that's her friend. And y'all were also coming to a party where she wanted her to be prepared. She was like, oh, I know, because she on the internet calling me Kel or whatever. And she was like, you were to address me as Kelly. I was like, yeah, because see, she don't know you. She did that on purpose to call you out and then to not call you by your full name. But you telling everybody at the party about this, I'm just kind of confused. Like, you just want to stir up some shit. And you were wrong. Now, yes, does Portia have to answer for that? Yes. You weren't the person to ask those questions, though. We would have gotten there. Anyway, because Portia going to come up again. Drew Sidora. Drew, who, another one who I felt like should not have been casted on this show. Just because you come to Atlanta, get a few jobs, and it was just like, apparently she's trying to start a singing career, and no ma'am. And Dennis, of all people, is her producer. Okay, once again, it's given forced production to make a show. Okay, we know Dennis ain't no producer, but what we also know is, or what I know is, y'all need to stop trying to play him. I thought he did hot dogs. I thought that's all he did. He was a hot dog man. Let me tell you something. Hot dog man making plenty of money with hot dogs. That may be all he does and sells, but he has all these businesses making money, and he could take care of his kids, or his daughter, so on and so forth. So don't knock what somebody has been able to do in business. But he is not a music producer. Yes, I will give you that. Drew, you sort of working with Dennis, not really being honest about your relationship / he's throwing you a party, producer. It's giving messy. Also, your life is giving messy. So apparently the judge said it was okay. The way y'all are separating is for your husband who went to Tampa without telling you for days and still had cameras recording you all from the gate, and y'all got married like in months. It was giving typical controlling, abusive tease. I can't prove it. I'm just saying that's what it was giving. And now he's in the basement of the house and has a separate interest, and you're at the top. And the judge says that's where y'all get like parenting, whatever. I'm going to tell you, as a teacher, I had to sit through a senior speech one time, and the kids' parents were there. And the kid was basically talking about how they grew up. And they said that their parents thought it was a good idea to stay in the same house, even though they were divorced. And they gave the speech or whatever. It was very personal. And they chose to do this, right? So on and so forth. And students had a chance to ask questions. And so another young lady stood up and asked her and said, well, look, I'm a child of divorce too. But what did you, and it did hurt me when my parents left, but what did you think about that situation? And she was like, honestly, it was confusing to me. It was confusing to me to have my parents in the same house, knowing they were divorced, seeing them with other people. I saw a lot, and it really didn't help, because you just think, oh, because two parents are in the same house, it's better. It's not. And Drew, I'm telling you from experience of hearing another kid talk about how confusing and kind of painful and the unclear signals they received as a kid, this is not the move. But what it's giving is that you and whatever his name is don't have a lot of money, right? Like y'all are pulling the Atlanta show, which is to pretend like you have money and be broke as hell and borrowing, from Peter to pay Paul and all this other old business. And things in Atlanta that give you credit, or people giving you a high interest loan, are what's happening right now. Right? Like if you're on this show, okay, well, this will appear this way, and therefore y'all have this, but y'all can't really split it because the kind of pay you get in entertainment is not like I get as a teacher. Now, granted, you would never probably want my salary, but I know what I'm getting paid every 2 weeks, whereas people in entertainment don't, and this seemed like the most effective way to deal with that home. That's what I'm getting from it. All right, Drew, your life is still a mess, because that means you still have this abuser hanging around. Okay, Cynthia, for now, at least it appears she's a friend of the show. Cynthia, as usual, I know we use this expression all the time. She is aging like fine wine. Cynthia is aging like fine wine. She manages to be beautiful. I don't care what she does, says, what face she makes, so on and so forth. Cynthia is beautiful. And once again, we see her. My thing with Cynthia is when she showed up at the party, Cynthia, your dress didn't fit. And I don't mean, oh, I didn't like the dress on you. It didn't fit. Like, it looked too small. And this, I don't care that she's not model thin anymore. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, she actually put on a dress that didn't fit. And for fashion to have been her whole life, I feel like, Cynthia, you knew better. Like, why did you even wear, I'm just confused. I just need to know why you wore that. Speaking of faces, Shamia, it might be funny when you hanging out with your friends and people like Portia who know you well, but it's not funny. It's not cute. And honestly, those are ugly faces. And it's just, don't do it anymore. Don't. There were things that Nene could do, like, oh, like we laughed because she could deliver comedy, even though she wasn't like trying to be funny. She could do it. Girl, be yourself. Be yourself. It'll come off as more authentic. All right. So then we get this chick, Brittany, okay? And she's doing, insurance, and she has this, shapewear, bare and naked, whatever. She's cute enough. She does look like somebody who probably did a lot of work to her face too. Just like Kelly looks like she may have had one chisel too much. Like, she's the kind, I think if we saw her before pictures from somewhere, we would look at her and say, why did she mess with her face? She was beautiful. Kelly, I feel like, is one of those girls. Britt has also seemed to have done stuff. Okay. Nevertheless, she has her husband and she's taping and she has this big ring and, you know, her husband's giving her all these rings. And that's when Kenya makes a snarky comment about where the 2 rings are, whatever. Kenya is still jealous and bitter and finding things wrong with other people's relationships because that's who she is. She hasn't learned anything from that divorce. But, Britt, I'm going to keep it real with you. And this is not because I have a history of not liking Britney's. This is what meets the eye. If I had not known better, like you were just playing out reality TV without knowing anything, I would have thought you were hanging out with your gay best friend, who is your husband. And it is giving very much an Atlanta marriage, right? Everybody pretends they come together for money, and the woman will gladly pretend she's somebody's wife who is clearly gay, but pretending not to be gay by being married. And they also understand that one is gay and they can do whatever they want, but the appearance is there. Atlanta lives for the show, the fakeness, the gildedness. And Britt, you are giving that. And it's not a flex. We're seeing what we're seeing. I don't wish divorce on anybody, but when it happens, just know that's, if it happens, that's going to be the first thing that comes out of people's mouths. Yeah, I wonder, you know, is that the reason why? Because we all knew. I'm just saying. Angela Oakley, we haven't gotten like a whole lot of her personality yet. She's claiming she's an alpha female. She's with Charles Oakley. Now, I knew who Charles Oakley was because he was on the Knicks for a long time. And he played on some really high teams. Like, I think the Chicago Bulls, like, you know, basketball was good in the 90s because we just watched Jordan in my house because we watched Jordan early 2000s. Also, he was in news in recent years because he had gotten kicked out of Madison Square Garden. And it was a couple times where black people were just getting, I mean, real elite black people sitting on, like, the front rows of the basketball game, getting thrown out. And I do remember that. And this is a top Hall of Famer. There were a lot of people really angry about that. And rightfully so. So Angela is clearly his much younger wife. Charles Oakley is really coming off as the typical older husband of a younger woman. Controlling, abusive tease. The constant remarks when she's talking about, oh, I'm hot. What's all that makeup you got on? Oh, you need to go fix your wig and all this other stuff. Like, it's kind of the thing, like, you know, you're on TV and you're purposely trying to embarrass her. And it's because, one, it's giving, we know people get on these shows usually when they go, bro, I'm not saying that he has not been a Hall of Famer, but I'm sure the money from this show ain't gonna hurt. And I think people know the amount of attention these kind of shows get. And he knows that there are going to be other people looking at her and she is younger and will have options. So let me put her down and make her feel bad on TV, or at least embarrass her while we get this check. There was no reason for that. She's beautiful. That's your job as a husband. Unless you just saw something falling off. But you were constantly belittling her looks. And it was like in different sections of the party. It wasn't like we had just caught something or she had asked you. And that seems like you want to make her feel bad so she doesn't believe certain things about herself that people are obviously going to see and perhaps even admire by watching this show. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was cute. To be determined how this all turns out. But I will say this first episode was good. It was good and it was worth the watch. That's why I'm putting this up. Tell me what you think in the comments and I'll talk to y'all soon enough. Bye.